Hello, my crafting friends. It's Erica here from Me Too Paper Crafts, and today I have another week for a fun fold. This one I happened to find when I was cleaning up my craft room last week. I've been finding a few cards that I thought I could then share with you on how it was made. So I had to take all the measurements for this and figure out how it was made. Pretty simple card. It was from a good friend of mine, a demonstrator named Miran, and she sent me this happy birthday card. So I thought I would duplicate this card because I think it's quite a nice little layout and very, very simple to do. I love the way she actually embossed the layer of cardstock behind the designer series paper. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do something a little bit different on the front though. Okay, so let's get started. So I've already cut out most of my materials here. I will have to bring in my mini Stampin' Cut machine to cut the frame or the die. Rather than use this oval, I'm going to use one of our stitched nested labels dies. These are in the annual catalog, and there's a variety of sizes. These are just fantastic because they're stitched on the inside and the outside. So they make a really, really nice greeting die. All right, so I have a scrap piece of paper for that. All right, so here is the basic layout. This is a 4 1/4 by 11 sheet of cardstock. All of the cutting and scoring measurements will be on the blog post, and there's going to be a link down below this video as usual. So I'm going to pull out my trimmer here, and I'm going to show you. So seeing that this is 11 inches wide, I want to score this at 5.5. Okay, this is your standard 5.5 inches. I'm going to score this for a tent fold card. So make sure you use your gray scoring blade for this. I'm going to score, and I'm going to kick that out of the way, and then I'm going to pull up my cutting blade. And what I want to do now is I want to move this over to 2 inches and just cut off a little bit of the front of the card. So I'm going to move all the way over to 2 inches right here. And then I'm going to cut. Okay, so we've got this 2-inch piece that you could use, you know, for your scrap. And that's all we need the trimmer for. Okay, so now we can fold over our card base, and I'm going to pull out my bone folder and just give the crease a bit of a press, or burnish as they call it, to make sure it lies nice and flat. The front of our card. Now this is I've already gone and embossed this, and this is the actual front layer, but we need to cut this because, as you can see from this one, there's a piece on this front panel, and then there's a piece on this panel here as well. So I worked out the measurements, and we need to cut this at 3 1/8. So I'm going to bring back my trimmer. I'm going to move this to 3 1/8, which is right there, and I'm going to cut that. So now I have my 2 pieces for the front of my card. And then we also want to cut the DSP. So this is the designer series paper that's going to go on the front of the card. And again, on the long side, we're going to trim this at 3 inches. All right, so those are our 2 pieces that we need. I just turned down my volume. I apologize for all the interruptions. Okay, so this piece here, this is the embossed piece. This is going to fit on the front like this. It's a nice narrow layer, and then this is going to fit on top of that, like so. And then this piece will fit over here on this side. It's going to go underneath a little bit. And then this piece will fit on top of that piece. Okay, so we're going to glue these together first. So let's pull in my silicone mat and get out my Stamp and Seal. So I'm going to layer this now. This goes towards the outside edge. And if your paper has a directional pattern, make sure that you get the direction going the right way. Right, so the way is going to be portrait, like that. And then I'm going to do this one. We'll glue this piece on top. Now, a lot of these measurements are in 8ths, but our trimmer does show you very clearly 8ths and 16ths. Now I'm going to rotate my paper because there is a daisy in the middle that's looks better if it's upright this way. So let's line this up in here like so. Okay, so this is going to go on the front like that. This is going to go on the side. And then I have this extra piece. This is for the inside of the card where you can actually write your greeting. Now, I think I've done a little mistake on my greeting, or on my measurements here. Let's just go back to the original card. Yeah, I need to cut this piece down a little bit, it looks like. I'm just going to trim this one by an 1/8. Looks like it was just a little bit too long, or too wide, I should say. So let's give that a trim. Better to have been too big than too small. I think I need to cut it down even a little bit more, so another 1/8. So I'll adjust these measurements when I put them on the blog post. Okay, so I actually trimmed that down quite a bit. So like I said, I will amend the measurements so that you get it right. Okay, so what I can do now is I can go ahead and stick this to the inside of the card. Like so. And then I will put this piece on the inside. And try and line up your edges to the piece on the right. Like top and bottom, you see, like that. Okay, there we go. There is our side piece done. Okay, and then we will do the front. We will layer this on the front. Again, watch for your direction. And then we'll work on the greeting on the front. There we go. All right, so we have the front of our card done. And now I'm going to work on my greeting. So I have this frame here. I thought this size would work out really well. Okay, and I've got a piece of scrap basic white here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I just like to lay it on my paper and figure out where my greeting is going to be stamped. And I put the greeting already on a block. This is the greeting here. It's your day, enjoy it. So we'll do this in our Memento Black. Get that inked up really well. And then put this. Now I'm going to put it a little bit lower because I'm going to be punching out some daisies to put on the front of the card. because we have these daisy punches. Okay, so that's going to go like that. So let me just pull in this is my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine here. Oh, let's cover up this ink pad before a disaster happens. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and then I need my base plate, which is the #1 plate, and then I need my 2 acrylic plates, cutting plates. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to take this. Now, of course, this is a smaller machine, so this is about, I think, 3 inches wide, and so I can't possibly put this piece of paper in here, so I'm going to trim this down. So let me just pull in my trimmer here, and I'm just going to trim this in half. Okay. And now I can put this in here. And first of all, actually, I'm going to line my die up on top of it, and I'm going to use a little Post-it flag to hold the die in place. I really like using these Post-it flags. Okay, so that just holds the die in place. Now I can place it on the cutting pad. Okay, and then get my top piece. Now I offset the top plate from the bottom plates just so it goes through the machine better. If you butt them up, line them all up evenly, it's a little bit difficult to get them to run through. So if you offset, can you see how they're offset here? And they run through quite nicely. So there we go. I just love this little machine. Okay, so we'll take this Post-it tape off. And here is my, see how lovely that is. I love that. Now often, depending on, you know, what you're cutting out, you can actually use the frame for another project. Okay, so this is going to go on the front like this. I'm going to pull down the daisy punches. I have a small one. One is called a medium and a large, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I think one is large and medium. I call them large and small, but that's okay. This is a medium daisy punch. And I'm going to just punch them out of Whisper White. I'm not going to do any stamping. I'm going to keep them pretty plain. So we'll do this one. Now what I thought I would try is some of the Coordinating Designer Series paper from this gorgeous paper, and I'll list all of the supplies that I'm using in my description. I thought I would try doing a daisy out of this gold and see how that works. And let's get a larger daisy, and we're going to layer them. Hopefully this piece is big enough. Yeah, that should work. Okay, here's the larger daisy. So let's build our daisy, and then we will put it on the card. I don't know, maybe I won't use the larger daisy. Let's just see. The smaller daisies will be better. I might actually grab some other colored cardstock too. I think I need a yellow in here. Let's see what we can do with this. I love the gold, but I think I need some yellow in the background. So I'm going to go grab my, I think this is Bumblebee color. So here's a piece of Bumblebee. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Brighten up this little Daisy. So you want to offset the petals, and you don't offset them like to make them centered between two petals. You want to offset them just a little bit. Kind of like that. I don't know, maybe the gold should be on the top. Let's see which I like better. I think I like the gold on top. Okay, so let's get a bit of Tombow glue out here. And we're going to put a little bit of Tombow on here. And then we'll offset this flower just a tiny bit. Get that in the center, like so. Then we'll put a bit more Tombow on that centerpiece. And then we'll put this one on top. You want all three layers to show through. So that works right there. Okay. There we go. And then for the center of the flower, we could use some kind of an embellishment. Now, I might want a bit of a center in here. So you may have some older retired punches to make a small circle. I happen to have an old 1/2 inch circle punch that I'm going to use to create a center for this flower. So, and I might actually sponge it a little bit just to give it some dimension. So let me grab my sponge daubers. And I'm going to grab out, let's see, I'll just grab out crushed curry because it's a darker color. And let's see if there's enough ink on here, or maybe I have to grab my ink pad. No, there's no ink on there. Dries up pretty quick. So let me grab my crushed curry. And let's just sponge around this little circle. Just gives it a bit of definition, I think. There we go. And then let's put a little bit of glue in the center yet again. And then we'll stick this on top. And you can check through your you know, embellishments and see what else you might have. We used to have, they're retired now, but we had these fantastic sort of centers for these. They were a bit furry. I'm just going to check through and see if I have anything that's current. Oh, these are gorgeous. These are the current gold. These are called, I think, gilded gems. Yeah, gilded gems. These are beautiful. So I think I'm going to put a gilded gem. Now I'm going to pop this up on a dimensional. So let's pull those out. Whoa, everything's going flying here. Okay, so we'll pop a dimensional on the back. And before I peel that off, I'm going to decide where I'm going to put this. But let's, whoops, let's turn this over. We'll put this gold one right smack in the middle, like that. I think that looks really good. Now, I feel like I need some leaves, and rather than stamp leaves, I'm going to revert to a retired, well, no, we've got two punches. This punch is still current, I believe. This is called the sprig punch. So we could use this punch. So yeah, let's do some sprigs on here, and I might pull in there's two colors of green in here. There is Old Olive, and this one is Pear Pizzazz. And then there's this Cajun Craze color that's in here for the sprig. So actually I'm going to grab some Cajun Craze, and I'm going to grab, oh, I have a piece of Old Olive right here. This was cut from the front of the card. And I'm going to grab another old punch. This is retired, unfortunately, but you can just grab whatever leaves that you have. I'm going to punch out a couple of these. I think many of you purchased this punch, and even though it's retired, I still revert to it quite a bit. And I'm just going to grab some Cajun Craze. And I'm going to punch a sprig of that. Okay, so let's see how we make out here now. So I'm going to build up on my daisy. Actually, I'm going to do this first. Let's put these punches out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is going to, doesn't really matter where you put it. You can put it, closer to the bottom, or you can put it centered. You could also layer this with another layer of this, I think this, but it might be too big. This is the next layer up. Well, I don't think it's too big. I think it needs some color behind it. What do you think? I think this is the next layer up. I'm not sure now. Maybe we should run this through the bumblebee and see if that's going to work. So let me just trim off a little piece of the bumblebee so I can get it through my machine. Oh, there goes my die on the floor. Okay, so there is the bumblebee. Set my daisy aside. Grab that frame. Off the floor. Let's bring in my machine again. And my plates. Okay, I've lost my other plate here. My goodness gracious, look at my desk. Let's see, where did I, oh, here it is. It's never too far away. And let's grab cardstock. Let's grab the die. So approximately 90% of all of our dies fit in this little machine. So if you can't afford to purchase the bigger machine, or you're just starting to get interested in die cutting and embossing, then this little machine just might do the trick for you. Okay, so I've offset them again, and I start to give it a bit of a push, and then I grab the handle and push it through. Okay. I wanted to show you this handy dandy little plate holder that one of my team members, she designed this. And she shared the instructions with us, and then I made this to hold my plates in. Isn't that the coolest thing? Keeps everything neat and tidy. Okay, so here's what we've cut out. Let's just see if this adds a bit of interest to the card. I think it will. So here's my card. Here's my greeting. Ooh, I like that better. Of course I do. Okay, so let's glue this on top. This is easy to center because of the points here. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this on here. So I only need a bit of tape on 1/2. You could actually center it on the card, like so. Okay, so it opens nicely like that. Make sure I have no glue here. That's perfect. And then here's my little daisy. Now I could lift these little petals up if I wanted to. I just use my thumb and just bend it a little bit. You can use your bone folder, but I've already got the center on and the gem there, so it's a little bit more difficult to use the bone folder, but your thumbs will do. Just give them a little curl. Okay. There you go. And then we can pop off the backing for our dimensional. And then I'm going to pop it. Ooh, I kind of like it right there. There we go. So there you go. There's your card. I apologize for the mix up in the measurements, but I'll get those fixed in the blog post so you'll have the correct measurements. I think that's a very sweet card. I hope you enjoyed this card. You could stamp something, some more flowers in here if you wanted to from the stamp set. I always supply you with a list of what I used in the project, and all of those links go directly to my online store. Oh, I forgot about these things. Hang on. Do we need them? Maybe we don't need them. Actually, I kind of like them. So let's just put a couple of these on. So because this is on a dimensional, it's very easy to slide these underneath. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of Tombow glue on there. And I'm just going to slide it under the flower. So we'll put one here. I don't want to cover over my greeting, but we'll stick one right there. Perfect. And then we will put these down. Slide that underneath like that. And then I will slide this maybe on top. Like that. Oh yes, look at that. I like that. I hope you like it too. So thank you so much for stopping by for this week's Fun Fold. And we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.